In China, there are 600 million people, and their monthly income is only 1,000 yuan. 1,000 yuan in a medium-sized city might be difficult even for renting a house.
On November 23, 2020, a pivotal day destined to be etched in the annals of global development, the world bore witness to the birth of the first country free from poverty-stricken inhabitants. And China proclaimed the eradication of poverty, prompting questioning. Xi Jinping's accelerated socialism achieved success in its phase, but forebodings arose regarding what was to come. The middle class in urban areas ought not to rejoice too soon. According to Xinhua News Agency's report on November 23, 2020, the remaining 9 impoverished counties in Guizhou province have exited the sequence of impoverished counties, marking the elevation of all 832 impoverished counties in China out of poverty. China has fashioned a historic miracle in reducing human poverty. Xi Jinping insisted, "We must attain moderate prosperity," making it a political imperative. Regardless of any maneuvers undertaken, moderate prosperity must be attained. It's a political mission. It's not a gradual accomplishment following the country's developmental laws, but a top-down political mission. Therefore, being a political task, it will undoubtedly be accomplished. This elucidates why, nearing the end of 2020, especially from September onwards, a significant number of impoverished counties were successfully cleared. On September 14, Hubei province declared poverty-free counties. On November 14, Xinjiang and Yunnan simultaneously announced the eradication of impoverished counties. Subsequently, on November 16, 17, 20, and 21, 4 regions, Ningxia, Sichuan, Guangxi, and Gansu, declared themselves free of poverty-stricken counties. Each province seemed eager to swiftly clear its list. In essence, in the preceding months, they systematically cleared the entire list, leaving no province behind. This concerted effort aimed to make such an announcement before the culmination of 2020. Coincidentally, with the epidemic affecting the country's economic trajectory, the Chinese government urgently required an achievement to exhibit to the world, showcasing the efforts of the Communist Party. However, the then Prime Minister, Li Keqiang, spoke candidly, contradicting Xi Jinping's 2020 Comprehensive Poverty Alleviation Initiative. Li Keqiang revealed, in China, 600 million people earn a monthly income of merely 1,000 yuan. In a mid-sized city, 1,000 yuan might barely cover rent. As Li Keqiang also highlighted the plight of a migrant worker over 50 years old who had toiled outside for more than 3 decades, earning a consistent income yearly. This year he remained unemployed, plunging the entire family into distress. The Prime Minister's stark revelations indicated the severity of China's poverty problem. Let's delve into the real-life experiences of individuals in poverty-stricken mountainous regions of China. A girl, with trepidation, cautiously offered a piece of meat from her bowl to her huddled sister in the corner, despite taking only small portions at a time. She confronted the aunt's penetrating gaze and caustic remarks. The 3 sisters dared not voice their distress. Having long dwelled under someone else's roof, they had grown accustomed to enduring hardships. It's a genuinely poignant documentary. This girl, Xiao Ying, now 10 years old, resides in an incredibly remote and impoverished village in Zheotong, Yunnan. Years ago, her mother, unable to endure the poverty and misery at home, callously deserted them and vanished without a trace. to sustain the family. The father had no recourse but to seek work in the city. The three sisters live in a dilapidated adobe house with bare walls, containing only a worn-out wooden bed. Surviving on potatoes alone every day, even if they are difficult to consume, they force themselves to do so. Bisons express sympathy, stating happy individuals use their childhood to heal their entire lives, while less fortunate people spend their whole lives trying to heal their childhood. In the poorest pockets of China, people depend on potatoes to stave off hunger, and over 90% of the population has never tasted rice. One can scarcely fathom the destitution prevailing in the remote villages of Butuo Saikwan. In most households there, humans and animals coexist with pigs, sheep, and other livestock freely entering and exiting homes. If a chicken is seen perched on a bed, there's no cause for alarm. Local residents usually have 2 meals a day due to the relatively infertile land in this area. Only potatoes yield a substantial harvest, while cultivating buckwheat and corn necessitates fertilization. Consequently, impoverished families can only afford to cultivate potatoes. Scandal erupts. Allegations surface regarding the falsification of poverty alleviation efforts in Shangangsi Luona. Instances of fabricating achievements and even confiscating journalists' phones come to light. In response, Shangangsi initiated an in-depth investigation by forming a probing team. Over the past years, the Chinese Communist Party's official poverty alleviation initiatives have frequently been exposed for falsifying outcomes. During a formal visit to console impoverished households in Shandong province, officials were caught yet again. The so-called impoverished household not only possessed a 3-bedroom apartment, but also concealed luxury items like Mao Tai and Wu Liangji, sparking skepticism among netizens. In reality, many impoverished households in China do not receive the necessary assistance. A netizen named Mr. Wei remarked, "Ultimately, everything they proclaim is deceitful. This government is fraudulent." In recent years, numerous instances of suicides in China due to poverty have emerged. One of the most harrowing incidents transpired in September 2016 in a mountain village in Kangal County, Gansu Province. A young mother, Yang Galen, tragically took the lives of her 4 children before ending her own. Following the burial of his wife and children, her husband, Lai King, also succumbed to poison, unable to endure the extreme poverty, lack of social aid, and the inability to afford basic necessities, including clothing for the children. As in China, the number of elderly individuals resorting to suicide due to financial constraints for medical treatment has alarmingly escalated, it said. China's largest retail bank, China Merchants Bank, recently released its annual financial report. Based on this report, mainland analysts scrutinized the wealth distribution among the Chinese populace, revealing an alarming wealth gap. The report indicated that among 158 million household customers in 2020, a mere 3.1 million households possessed assets surpassing 500,000 yuan, accounting for 1.96% of the total customer base. As the collective assets of these retail customers amounted to 8.94 trillion yuan, with those possessing assets exceeding 500,000 yuan, amassing a total of 735 trillion yuan, constituting 82.15% of the total retail customers' assets. In essence, 1.96% of customers controlled 82.15% of the total assets, meaning that this small segment held 80% of the wealth. Former China Construction Bank financial planner Shi Huawei remarked, "In economics, the potato principle indicates that 20% of people possess 80% of a society's wealth. In contemporary China, approximately 2% of the population controls over 80% of the wealth." This underscores the increasing concentration of wealth in China among a minute fraction of individuals, exacerbating the wealth gap rather than narrowing it. In response, the Chinese government introduced the Common Prosperity Plan, intending to alleviate poverty by various means, including redistributing the wealth of the affluent. Is it merely an illusion? Yash, the NC Jinping champions common prosperity, targeting the bourgeoisie and urging companies to contribute, reminiscent of the old communist ethos of taking from the rich to aid the poor. President Xi Jinping not only envisions grand poverty alleviation dreams, but also has prompted the Central Finance and Economic Affairs Commission of the Communist Party of China told you to launch a common prosperity special plan with the objective of attaining widespread wealth. It emphasizes that common prosperity should benefit all individuals, not just a privileged few. It specifically emphasizes the need for the affluent population to contribute more to society. The rhetoric of the Cultural Revolution re-emerging arises as Xi Jinping espouses common prosperity. Commentator Wazijia asserts that enabling the poor to accumulate wealth or coercing the rich to relinquish theirs are the only two ways to achieve common prosperity. He argues for making the wealthy forfeit their wealth, effectively dissolving the affluent class, thereby achieving common prosperity. Therefore, the term common becomes pivotal, with prosperity contingent upon the government's definition, allowing the government to dictate what constitutes prosperity. Common prosperity prompts the wealthy to flee, leading to a 30% increase in houses for sale in Shanghai. Following Xi Jinping's re-election for a third term during the 20th National Congress, the common prosperity policy engenders uncertainty among many affluent individuals about the future. According to a report from the South China Morning Post, the number of second-hand houses for sale in Shanghai surged to nearly 140,000 in October, marking a 30% increase compared to the previous year's end. Commentator Wu Lingxiang posits, can common prosperity resolve grassroots wealth disparities? While common prosperity may address some aspects, it's implausible to completely eradicate poverty. Poverty is inherent and cannot be entirely eradicated in any country due to inherent inequalities among people. His assertions underscore the challenging landscape and the limitations of achieving genuine common prosperity and universal poverty eradication.